Hey there, Dragon Folk. Today we are going to be looking into the past, and we're going to see what the market has done with a lot of the product that has come out right around this time several years ago. Dragon Folk, welcome on into the channel. Hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. I know I am. Today, we're going to be diving into something that I'm pretty excited about. I like to go back and look at some stuff and kind of check on the market and the time periods that are really going to make a big difference in the set's general value. You know, we always say wait, 3 to 5 years to figure out what your actual profit's going to be on sealed product. And then obviously the longer it stays sealed, the longer it will go up. So we're going to look at the market for right now. Obviously, I think this is going to probably be coming up. I want to say it's like the 3rd of October or something, but we're going to be looking at the sets that have come out right around this time from years past. So we're going to start off with the first year, so 1 year ago, and then we'll move on to 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and then 20 years ago, because Magic the Gathering is that old. So this is essentially the look through the past that we're going to do. And I plan to do this every time a new set releases. If things are too close together in regards to their release dates, then I will obviously fix stuff around and I may not talk about the one because, believe it or not, back in the day, they didn't come out with sets as fast as they do now. We looking at the sets and looking at when their release dates were, like, I'm telling you, we're going to be looking at Return to Ravnica, for instance. Return to Ravnica came out in October of 2012, and there was not another standard set until February of 2013. So what a wild ride that is, huh? That's 5 months of nothing. God, bring me back. Anyway, let's get into it. So if my big dumb head blocks anything, just make sure to let me know. I'd be more than happy to move it. But we're going to kind of go over this right now. Right now, we have Innistrad Midnight Hunt, which came out 1 year ago. Right around the end of September, this was the set to change the original standard rotation. So this one is the one that kicked out all the Throne of Eldraine and Ikoria, Theros, Beyond Death, and Core 2021. This is the set that did it. This is also what I like to believe the downfall of the standard format. So we're looking at these, right? And you can see that there have been some changes to it, but for the most part, still extremely cheap. That's obviously because, the only thing that is really crazy good in here, personally, I think the Planeswalkers are great. Teferi, Who Slows the Sunset, has been getting a lot of love recently in the Pioneer format. And then the borderless and really just the slow lands in general. These are the better slow lands because these slow lands don't require you to have basic lands in order for them to come in untapped. You just need 2 other lands. So I like these a lot. But that is pretty much the biggest thing here. That and then Meathook Massacre. Right, Meathook Massacre being the probably king of this entire set. Obviously, for the price of 1 Meathook Massacre, just by itself, you could buy almost an entire draft booster box of Innistrad Midnight Hunt. Now, that's saying something, considering. But this set has definitely gone kind of horribly. But I gotta say, for it being an Innistrad set that was supposed to be about werewolves and turned out to be more about zombies, I still like it. And I think I like it because obviously the draft is going to be fun. I think I love the showcase art for this set. We have Arlen, right? The showcase just looks so good. I can't get enough of, I genuinely cannot get enough of this. The Arlen looks so good. A lot of the showcase art in here looks really good. But then you also have things like the Haunted Ridge. Haunted Ridge is the borderless version. It's just insane looking. And they're not too bad as far as that goes. I think they're well priced for what they are. The foils seem to just be doing kind of okay, right? It's been, if we do it from a year, right? Obviously, these have been going up in price pretty significantly. Arlen herself has even been doing kind of meh. She definitely was a lot more expensive at the beginning, but has now gone down quite a bit. Her foil now is, oh, that's actually kind of crazy. I wonder if she got a reprint somewhere and I just didn't know. $22. This card used to be $40, like $50 to $40, and now it's down to $22. So unfortunate for that, but it is good for collectors because guess what? This is the last card I need in my showcase collection for Innistrad Midnight Hunt. So I get to pick her up for cheap now. Sometimes the perk of waiting for singles is stuff like this. But of course, you do have Meathook Massacre, which has been completely skyrocketing. And we're not sure when the next reprint of this is going to be. Just know that it is available for a reprint. So it could be tomorrow. It could be 3 years from now. It could be 6 years from now. Who knows? But Meathook Massacre is definitely taken to the skies. But of course, the more expensive it gets, the more Wizards is going to look at this and they're going to go, maybe we should reprint it. So not a terrible product. Is it something I would invest in? No. I wouldn't invest in Midnight Hunt simply because I would say you can get maybe like a couple boxes for a draft. And granted, $144 for a collector booster box is pretty good, but it is by no means where you should put your money. So it's good. It's not great, but it'll do. If you like Innistrad and you like spooky stuff, it's a fun set. Is it investable? No. If you're investing in anything in this set, invest in these lands. And that's just my advice. So on to the set that was 5 years ago, Ixalan. Ixalan was 5 years ago. I was not playing during Ixalan, and I wish I was, considering it's a very dinosaur-themed set. But good thing is that we're going back to Ixalan in a year? Yeah, a year. We're going back to Ixalan. So Ixalan was an interesting set because I believe that when it was first released, nobody wanted anything to do with it. Cards weren't very fantastic. There was a whole lot of hoopla in regards to a lot of overprinting is what they considered it, which is funny because if I recall correctly, it's either Ixalan or Rivals of Ixalan. One of those got short printed. So it's kind of funny to see that that's the case. But you'll see that after 5 years, which is normally the time in which you kind of figure out where the price of a box is going, you're at $159 for a Ixalan booster box. And so a year ago, right, it was down. They obviously are continuing to climb over the days. So we can even look at something like this, a booster box of Ixalan. So back from its creation, they were selling for about $90. And now, after 5 years, they're up to about $160 on the low side. But of course, you're looking at a little bit more like 164, 159-ish. So they've definitely gone up in price pretty significantly over this 5 years. And honestly, getting them at 78 at a low right here, like somewhere between like $80 and $90, it's pretty good for a booster box. And of course, this was back in the day when things were simple. You had a non-foil card and a foil card. That was it. So all you had to worry about was that. This helped keep things simple. And because of that, we're seeing a lot of love for dinosaurs. Of course, we're coming back to Ixalan. So Ixalan's probably going to get a lot of love in some new players' eyes, as well as a lot of love for some nostalgia when we go back. But that may mean that some people are going to want to open Ixalan. Now, do I think that Ixalan is a very investable set? Well, considering its EV, I don't believe it actually is. Let's see, you look at the EV of something like this, and you get an average of $127 per box. On a low, it's about $62. An average market is $103. So this is right around where you're going to want to look at is the market because the average is really skewed. So the market is very much so saying that this is silly, right? And as sealed boxes go, right, the bigger of the sealed product you have, you could open up that sealed product no matter what time, and you're going to get less value when you open it, right? And now I like Ixalan. I think it's great. I think it's a good pickup. I think if you have nostalgia with it, it's a fun one. I think even if you want to pick up 1 to 3 of them to keep sealed, I think it will continue to go up because it's obviously following some kind of trend. And a lot of people really like playing dinosaurs. So I don't see why there's an option that you shouldn't pick it up. Is it where I'd put my money though? I don't know. I have an emotional tie to wanting this because of dinosaurs and because I've never experienced the set before. But is it something that I personally would buy? No. I would rather buy Double Masters 2022 over this. I'd rather buy Modern Horizons 2 over this. I'd rather buy Commander Legends collector boxes over this. I'd rather buy older boxes than this. And we'll get into the older boxes later. But for 5 years, it's not doing too bad. It's almost at a 100% increase in price, almost doubling the amount that it was worth during release. So it's not bad. Obviously, it'll keep itself up and keep going. And we'll just keep an eye on it. But that's Ixalan for you. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our next one. Return to Ravnica. See, we said we were going to come back here and check this out. So Return to Ravnica is a funny one because if you look at Return to Ravnica's booster box price, it is 5 years older than Ixalan, and it is $30 cheaper than Ixalan. So why is this, right? Why is Return to Ravnica like this? Well, according to a lot of people who have said, and obviously correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but Return to Ravnica was heavily printed. There was a lot of cards printed in this set. And it, even though some of those cards were shocklands, it did not do enough to keep the set moving forward. You look at stuff like, I think Cyclonic Rift is probably the best card that comes out of the set. Let's see. Yeah, Cyclonic Rift. So at a whopping $31, probably a little bit more during foils, I'd imagine. So yeah, like 54 market price for foils. But otherwise, that's it. The rest of the stuff down here, Blood Crypts, Uvar Hellkite is at least doing better because, dragons are getting a lot of good stuff right now. Steam Vents, Temple Garden, Overgrown Tomb, Chromatic Lantern, all these things under $20. And the worst is that the EV is still just kind of meh. Well, I guess this only goes back to a certain number. So I thought this was going to go back much farther, but it looks like it doesn't even go back to 2014. So if we look at 2015, it's at $116, which means that from June 2015 at 116 to now, it's only gone up $20 on average. And it's just not, the all-time low is $79 on 2017. All-time high is $163 in 2015, 2 years before it. So it's not receiving a whole lot of love. And its expected value, which of course would work if I actually was able to make this happen. There we go. The expected value of Return to Ravnica, you're looking at, oddly enough, this is the wildest thing to me. I don't know why the expected value for the booster box is so incredibly high. I don't think you're going to reach anything near market for this. I think your odds are better in getting something like this because, of course, right, if you open a booster box of 36 packs and you do get at least like 3 to 5 shocklands, you're getting almost $100 worth of value. Then, of course, you have the other rares and mythics that are from the set. But all in all, it's just kind of still meh. Even after 10 years of this set being out, it's still just kind of okay. And most would probably consider it bad. But I think if you have a tie to Ravnica and you want to pick up a 10-year-old box, I don't suggest buying this. But if you really wanted to, they are cheap right now. But at the end of the day, I think it's better that you avoid this. There will come a time where this will be worth maybe a little bit. But this whole era of 10-year-ago cards is not going to be good regardless, because this is right around Dragon's Maze, and a lot of people didn't like Dragon's Maze. So let's go ahead and take a look at the last set we're going to talk about, which is, of course, 20 years ago. 20 years ago, the set that came out is, can you guess? Can you guess? It's Onslaught. You guys could already see it in the tab. I don't know why I thought about hiding it from all of you. So Onslaught came out a whopping 20 years ago. So let's go ahead and bring up Onslaught on the good old MTG stocks. So Onslaught, oddly enough, does not have an EV, which is kind of an interesting concept to me. Not sure how that entirely all works. Probably because you couldn't open one for like the longest time. So you probably still can. I mean, you probably could. I think, what was it? Dual Brain MTG? Ed just opened a Onslaught box not too long ago, I think. Onslaught, obviously, their boxes are going to be impossible to find on TCGPlayer. I'm sure you can find them in other places, but right now you can't find. You can find a couple on here, but the market price is unavailable. 20-year-old set with a bunch of cards in it that have been well done throughout the years. Onslaught had all of these original fetches in here, so this is where a lot of the value comes from Onslaught, is these fetches, right? You got Windswept Heath, Polluted Delta, Flooded Strand, Bloodstained Mire. These are the ally fetches, I want to say. These are the ones that, if things are going the way they said they were going to, these are all going to get a reprint in probably a year, if not less. So keep your eye out for those. But it's just older stuff, right? The thing is that these older cards also had better foilings. So for instance, Polluted Delta. You look at Polluted Delta and you go, okay, cool. Polluted Delta, market price, $94. Foil price, $1,800 for something like Polluted Delta in foil. Boom. Look at that. These prices are huge because you want to know why the prices are huge? Because the foilings were so much better and nothing curled. Everything was perfect. It was beautiful. I mean, look at, I have a Yavimaya Worm that's in foil, and you can see it's just like, it's a more subtle foiling. It's not as bad looking. The old school art, let me just take it out of the thing. It's probably going to be better if I just show you. There you go. So you just look at this and it just looks so much better. It's more subtle. You're not like fighting with this thing over and over. It's a really, really great looking foiling. And so a lot of people really enjoyed that, as opposed to the rainbow foiling now, which has gotten a lot of hate because it's been so mass produced that it is, well, it's just curling the second it comes out of the pack. But Onslaught is obviously something that is insane in regards to the set, and you want to look at something like this, right? Onslaught's not going to be on the menu for very long. Return to Ravnica, if it's really as printed as it was, is going to be on the menu for a long time. You even look at things like Ixalan. If Ixalan was the one that was short printed, the odds of it going up faster are pretty good. If a set has been short printed or it's well over, like, 20 years old, the odds is that it's going to do really well in its sealed version. So with that being the case, would I invest in Onslaught? I wish this was actually the case. I don't know if any of you have bought an Onslaught box, like 8 years ago, that was $400. But if you were, congratulations. Because right now you can only find them for like $2,000 some dollars. Is it still a good investment, though? I would say yes. I would say Onslaught is a good investment to have. It's an older set with older foils. Older foils will always be a great pull if you can get them. They are much rarer to find in older product, but they are nice. And overall, it's staying sealed. That's the important part. If it stays sealed, you'll continue to get gains on this $2,000. And unfortunately, if you weren't able to pick it up back when it was, I guess, a few $100s, you have to take that loss, because I can assure you there is going to be no way that it is going to crumble and then go back up like this ever again, ever. I don't think there's ever going to be another thing like this. right now it's at a low, and it's going to be probably its lowest for a while, unless for some reason a warehouse of Onslaught boxes end up showing up somewhere on the market, and then it may drop a little bit. But I don't think that's ever going to be the case. And while all the stuff in here is capable of having a reprint, it's not going to be so drastic. These are original printings of cards for some of them, and they are going to go for much more considering they are the original. But of course, you're going to keep it sealed, right? So if you keep it sealed, you don't need to worry about that. You don't need to worry about any of that. You will keep your investment and keep it sealed in a box. You won't ever need to worry about touching it. So that is our look back through time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this segment. I know I did. I like looking through and checking to see how boxes have been. I really would like to see what the EV of a box of Onslaught would be, but I understand that sometimes the data is just not there. Obviously, if you were opening Onslaught, 10 years ago, the EV would have been different compared to the EV of today. It doesn't look like there were just a lot of people doing anything with Onslaught. Otherwise, we'd probably know more. But if you have any idea on the EV of an Onslaught box, make sure to leave it in the comments down below. And out of all of these sets, right, Innistrad Midnight Hunt, Ixalan, Return to Ravnica, and Onslaught, which one would you consider to be the most investable? Sealed. Don't look at the cards inside. Sealed. I mean, obviously look at the cards inside because, that's going to help with pricing. My choice is obviously Onslaught. Onslaught, granted, it's $2,000 and not $144 for a collector box, like with Innistrad Midnight Hunt. But that is my pick, because having a box of Onslaught, I know that I have already something that would be considered an antique very soon, and I can keep it sealed, fresh, in a box, and have it not be touched for several years, and it's only going to grow faster than something like Innistrad Midnight Hunt. I don't believe Innistrad Midnight Hunt is going to grow anywhere near as fast. I believe after Onslaught, though, I'd invest in Ixalan, and then after Ixalan, I'd invest in, believe it or not, Innistrad Midnight Hunt, and then I'd invest in Return to Ravnica. And that's not just because of the data that they have now, but because overall, I think the card choices in each and the general love for each set is skewed in a way. So let me know what you guys think. I'd be curious to have little conversations with you guys in the comment section below. While you're leaving that comment, make sure to like the video. Also subscribe to the channel as well if you have not already. And you can also check the description for a Patreon link if you wish to support the channel in a more monetary way. That'd be more than helpful, but it is not necessary. We have some fun tiers where I do some pack openings for everybody. We have a pack opening video up here for our last month's patrons. So make sure to check that out, and that could be your name also at the end of every one of these videos. So thank you all so much. I do truly, truly appreciate it, and I will see you all very soon. Nerd out.